Alright, so we're back on another week of working on the truck. I left you guys off last week with removing all the exhaust related components and the turbo. We're going to kind of shift gears real quick. In doing so, I need to remove the old cross member that's on the frame of the truck before I can get the cab put on. So in doing so, we're actually going to be removing the donor truck's cab today, and just setting it off to the side until we're ready to drop it on the frame, just so this way I can inspect the cross member on this truck and make a decision on whether I need to outsource one or if we can use the one off the truck. So once we get that cab off, we're going to kind of shift back into the garage and work on some other components needed to be replaced, and go from there. Removed 3 cab bolts. They're all coming out rather easy, given that this truck is from the south. All the hardware is really clean. We're just now shifting over to this last one here on the driver's side. This one's always kind of tricky to get because the fuel tank's over in this area, and so is the fuel lines and brake lines, so we may have to get an extension and maybe a swivel socket just to hold the nut down while we use the impact to pull it out.
What's up, everybody? It's your host with the most. I don't know where I was going with that. Kevin is finishing removing the PCM from the cab, so that way we can now lift this thing out of here. The radiator, or the hose is going to the heater core, have been disconnected. Same with the AC lines. And we got the last bolt out back there with a little persuasion. Came right out. And yeah, I think after that we're pretty much ready to get the tractor over here so we can lift it, set it, and then Kevin can hope and pray that this cross member is better than his.
Alright, so now that we have all the tools cleaned up outside, we're just waiting for my neighbor to come by with his tractor to hoist this old cab up. So in the meantime, we are working on the valve cover harness. So interesting about this is the valve cover harness is also the injector harness and glow plug harness. So they come with new plugs, because as you can see, this plug here, it's pretty common for them to burn up like this. Usually it's for the glow plug itself, so at least for the next 2 cylinders over here, they weren't getting glow plug action. So it's good to just replace those. Currently just scraping all this gunk out. You can actually see there's a thick wall of gunk that is surrounding the top of the motor, and honestly, it's good rust prevention. That's probably why this thing was so easy to remove everything. So I'm just taking this pick here, cleaning out all this stuff before I open this up to not allow any debris into the head. And then once we get them both open, we'll cut open this looming, splice some wires for new pigtails for the plugs, and then throw the new harnesses in and button everything back up. Alright, so Harley just left for the afternoon. He had some obligations to take care of, but I'm going to continue doing some work. But before Harley left, my neighbor came by while we were just starting with the valve cover gaskets and helped us remove this cab off the truck. It went very smoothly. I just forgot about one thing, and it was the e-brake cable. I wanted to save that because mine was rusted out and didn't work. So I was able to save all that. We just had to remove it from the, it runs underneath the cab mount and whatnot, but otherwise went really smoothly. The rear cab cross member here is actually a perfect match to the one inside, so that's good. I can reuse that. It's going to grind the rivets out and then punch out the studs and then remove this, and I guess find a way just to hang up the tank so it doesn't sag. I guess the same thing inside, but anywho, coming over here, I just want to show you quickly too. Also, the other hiccup we had just removing the cab was this boot here has a metal sleeve at the end, and the steering shaft goes through that, and we thought we could just remove the boot and just pull it out, but there's a little knuckle inside that connects the steering shaft to the column, which is this guy right there at the end of my finger. It kind of looks like a little U-joint. 1/2-inch bolt takes that out, slid right out, and we were able to then push the shaft back through the boot. Alright, before I set the camera a little bit closer and get started with the work, I just want to show you the what's included with the kit when you purchase it from Diesel Logic, and the tools that you're going to need to kind of carry out this job. So starting off, this kit came with a set of O-rings. I believe these are for the crankcase vent compartment. up at the top of the driver's side valve cover. There's 4 O-rings in here, so we'll take a look at that. The rest of this kit comes with, it's all pre-assembled basically. These are your butt connectors here. You have your pigtails and a harness in each bag. And usually they give you a sticker, but I didn't get a sticker. So if Diesel Logic, you're watching this, you owe me. So yeah, and the tools that you'll need, really simple. All you need is a set of lineman's pliers. I got this set here that just has a crimper at the base of them, so I can crush down on the wire and the crimper. You're also going to need some shrink wrap right here. I got a whole assortment of it here. And then I have a small butane torch that I'll use to heat the shrink wrap and get it tight to the wire. Alright, to start off, basically you're going to just see which way the plug is going to orientate. The clip's going to face the top of the motor. And then from there, you'll have 5 wires to cut and splice. So we'll take our fresh pigtail here and we're just going to move it off to the side. What I'm going to start with here is just removing the old pigtail looming. This way I can expose these wires and get them all cut up. I'll try to keep my hands out of the way, but the camera's kind of close. Okay, so what you see in front of you here is all the sheathing and tape removed. Something to note that's really a frequently asked question is there's this bare wire here, and a lot of people think that that's a problem, but believe it or not, this is supposed to be like this. This is just like a shielding between the inner 3 wires. This is just to allow, if there is voltage leak or bleed, it doesn't mess with the other wires. So really it's just, it takes this extra voltage that's bleeding out from the wires and grounds it, so it doesn't cause like a communication problem with the harness here. So nothing to be alarmed about. There will always be this in the 7.3 Power Strokes from 94 to 03. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove this foil wrapping on the 3 intercommunicating wires. I'm going to save this as best as I can. I'm just going to gently unwrap this. This honestly feels nothing more than like tin foil, more like a cloth material, but I'm going to just back this up all the way, and I can see up here that we have some tape where some of this shielded or bare shielded wire is. So I'll just bring it a little bit past that. This should give us enough room here to do the splicing. Alright, so I just got all the wires spliced up. So as you can see, they're kind of staggered in a different direction. I was trying to go like from like a high to low, but I screwed up one of the wires, so I had to kind of like go back and forth. So I got all of the splicing done for the wires and the new plugs. Everything's shrink wrapped and wrapped tightly, so it'll prevent moisture and contaminants from getting inside the wiring and getting into the splices. I got this side done as well. I got this valve cover put back on and cleaned up. I have some parts coming along tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow will be Monday, for some new bolts to screw in the rest of the valve cover. And then afterwards I can kind of go around and torque it down so that way we don't get oil leaks here anymore. Okay, I just got it loose. So there's just a 5/8 bolt up here with a gasket in it. I removed that. I added a little bit of heat to the end of the oil galley here, and then I just put some penetrating oil. So I just cracked it loose. So I'm going to try to see if I can't get it with this ratcheting breaker bar the rest of the way out, so we can take a look at how bad this oil galley plug really is. It's very tight. Didn't rust all the way through, but there's definitely like a cavity in the back here where it's hollow, and well, it was completely rotted out. Thread locked and torqued down to 60 foot-pounds each one. All right, listen up everybody. Do not take your heater element out. It's gonna drain everything inside the truck. I just made a gigantic mess. I'm gonna try to clean up some of this so I can crawl underneath the truck and drain the oil. I think all I gotta do is just undo the oil cooler and just, there's gonna be a little bit of coolant inside of the block or inside of the oil cooler itself, but what a mess. Definitely remember now I did not remove the heating block heater from the other truck. So yeah, keep that in mind. When you're doing a 7.3 oil cooler, you do not need to take out the heater, the block heater. These are relatively difficult to take out when the truck's fully intact, but kind of using this time as an advantage to get as much as I can while it's accessible, because all I have to do here is just pull it right out. Okay, so I got the oil cooler all put back together, all bolted back in, really nice and clean. I took a wire wheel, brass wire wheel, and I cleaned the mating surface on the engine block before I put the oil cooler back on. Alright folks, as you can see, everything's back together, torqued down to spec. We have gaskets in between the collector and up pipe. We got a gasket between the collector and the wastegate. We have gaskets in between the block and the manifold. Everything's torqued to spec. I'm very happy how this all turned out. And for not using name brand products, I gotta say the fitment on all of this was pretty darn good. And just like that, it's the next day. So I left off last night with getting the 4x4 shifter done. Now I'm gonna get ready to remove the rear cross member. Alright, now that the return line O-rings are done, I got the downpipe put on, I got the transmission dipstick put back in, used a little bit of RTV down at the base to kind of seal everything up. Really all that's left with the motor is going to be the boots for the Y pipe and the O-ring for the turbo. So once those parts come in, I'll do a quick clip of that. It's pretty self-explanatory. No more blue cab sitting on the ground. It was chopped up into a bunch of pieces and put into the back of the F350. Same with a bunch of scrap metal that was inside the shop. I kind of did some house cleaning while I was at it, because I'm going to go to the junkyard tomorrow morning and get rid of it all. It is now another night in the shop. We are going to do just a little bit of work tonight. I'll probably do some more recording later this weekend. It's Friday night. But tonight we're going to work on getting the intake all put back together, the Y pipe, the boots, and a gasket for the turbo. So here are all the parts that we're going to be putting on the truck tonight. We have the intake Y pipe, we have 2 new boots that will connect from the Y pipe to the plenums, we have the V-band clamp that will connect the Y pipe to the turbo, and a new gasket that will go between the Y pipe and the turbo. Alright folks, just finished painting the frame. This has been about a 3-day project so far. The first night I wire wheeled everything. You can see in some areas I got down to bare metal. The frame wasn't in terrible shape, but you know, it definitely needed some descaling for sure. So I had a coarse wire wheel and on my angle grinder, and I chipped away everything, got everything pretty smooth, and gave a nice degreasing bath. And then I did a coat of primer. I let that sit one night. Last night I did the first coat of black, and then I just finished my second coat of black. It is now the next night. I was able to remove all the rivets on the bottom parts of the crossmember and get those in individually at first, and then I was able to take the top section and then slide it across and get everything bolted in. It's all nice and tight now. I just shot it with a coat of paint. I'm gonna let this dry overnight and then probably do a second coat tomorrow while I take out the front drive shaft and do the U-joints. U-joints are complete. Drive shaft's reinstalled. No more slop. Nice and tight. Everything's torqued to spec. Got the transmission tunnel cut out and the 4x4 shifter. I made a pretty critical mistake. I'm hoping I can fix. I went to go ahead and clean out the firewall because I was gonna paint it, but I may go ahead and do it now. But I used like a really heavy duty degreaser, and you know, my pressure washer isn't super strong, so I was trying to break through some of the crud that was built up on it, but I ended up spraying the degreaser onto the rest of the truck and really just did a number to the paint job. Alright guys, my neighbor and I just got the cab hooked up, just bringing it up the driveway now, so we're going to get ready to drop it onto the truck. And just like that, it's starting to look like a truck again. How about that? First and foremost, I got to thank my neighbor Rick for helping me out. Not only in this case, taking time out of his day to get this cab dropped on, but even in the past with removing the old cab and getting this donor cab off the donor body too. Rick, if it wasn't for your help, this would have been a big pain in the butt. So I appreciate you taking time out of your day to help me out and keep this project moving forward. So for right now, I'm going to leave you guys off with this. I appreciate you guys watching and taking time to, follow up on this. And stay tuned for more videos, guys. Peace.